1, 2, 3, 4. I'm gonna come to your door.
Welcome to the Backlot 605 podcast. I am one of your hosts. I am Casey Kelderman.
I am Brian Mensing.
And we are the premier South Dakota movie podcast.
We are premiere?
We are the premier.
We are premiere.
We are premier.
Cool. I'm okay with that.
With an E.
I was going to say, how do you spell premiere? Because you fail at it usually.
With an E. I haven't brought that up in a while, and I like that catchphrase, so I think I gotta remember to do that every week.
You got to remember to spell it correctly.
I also spell it correctly, because I'm bad at spelling. Failed it 3 times in 3rd grade.
No, spelling in the United States is kind of a pain in the ass anyway, because you can have one word spelled 3 different ways.
Yes, like the British, how they spell color. I don't like it.
Why? Because it's proper?
Color.
We're the lazy ones who took the U out?
Yeah, we took the U out. We're right. They're wrong. We won that war.
I'm not going into politics with you.
The politics from the 1800s or
Politics in general.
1700s? I don't know. Anyway, I don't know what we're talking about right now, but we are the Schmuck Club, and we are just a bunch of schmucks who like to talk movies.
No.
That's what we do.
That's what we do. We do it a lot.
Yeah, that's just the 2 of us today, so we're kicking it back old school with the OG crew here.
We're the equivalents of schmucks in a basement.
Bunch of schmucks talking about movies, and you know what? So our main topic for this week is in honor of The Lion King. Instead of talking maybe Disney something or the live action versions of these movies, you know, we do enough Disney talk, I think.
Correct.
So we want to kick it back, just look at who was making this movie, Jon Favreau. So we're just going to look at the career of him, his directorial features, his writing credits, some of his acting choices. You know, we're going to look at it all.
We are.
There's a few misses that we have in there, and we'll bring those up once we get to those films, but...
Elf.
I've seen Elf.
Okay, I feel better knowing that you agree with me with Elf.
Yeah, it's...
As everybody revolts against us.
Yes, they're like, stop, unsubscribe. They hate Elf.
It's not a good movie.
It's a bad movie. We'll get to it. We'll get to Elf.
Okay.
All right. Anyway, were you going to say something?
No, I wasn't.
Okay.
Because it kind of...
Did you just throw up in your mouth a little?
A little bit.
Oh, gosh. It's going to be a fun thing. Have you watched any movies recently? We haven't asked each other that.
I actually, because of Spider-Man Far From Home coming out, I have binge-watched the Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield Spider-Man movies, because that will officially give me all the Spider-Man movies in 2019, since I saw Homecoming earlier today, or Homecoming in prep for Far From Home, and I saw Into the Spider-Verse earlier this year, and...
Do they hold up for you?
The Tobey Maguire ones hold up a lot better than I thought they would, and...
The second, for me, like... So the first one, as a kid, like, I loved that movie. Played it on rewatch all the time. Mm-hmm. And then the second one, like, still looking at that one today, I think that one holds up marvelously.
Oh, absolutely.
No pun intended.
The one thing I will give Spider-Man 3 is it's not Amazing Spider-Man 2, for one. But I'm watching it, and, you know, as much shit as I wanted to give Topher Grace, is I'm rewatching this, and I came to the realization it wasn't my problem with Topher Grace as Eddie Brock. It was my problem as Topher Grace as Eddie Brock as Venom. When he gets the symbiote, that's when it turns bad. Like, I don't have a problem as he is just, you know, when it's still him just dating Gwen Stacy, he's just the arrogant photographer trying to, you know, make a name for himself. It's when he gets the symbiote, that's when it got bad.
Yeah, he delivers some bad lines when he has the symbiote.
Oh my god, it's horrible.
I love James Franco in that movie. I think he is just...
Oh,
it's honestly the best performance he gives, and he is also just hamming it up.
Mm-hmm. Well, and for a Raimi movie, it's expected.
Well, yeah. One of my favorite moments in any comic book movie... Well, I posted it about it on Facebook, is the Aunt May inspirational scene from the second one. Mm-hmm. But one of my favorite just cheesy moments is... when he's sitting in that little cafe and the waitress asks him, you know, how's the pie? So good. Like, it's just that little moment. Like, it's completely over the top, but I love it.
Yeah, and then going into Amazing Spider-Man 2 is, I don't have a problem with Jamie Foxx's Electro. have Jamie Foxx as Max Dillon because that was as cartoony as you can get for the nerdy guy who's always being picked on. It was an ill use of Jamie Foxx's talent. And then the worst is Paul Giamatti's waste of talent as Rhino.
His accent in that movie, oh my god.
He's such an amazing individual. And
he doesn't need to get pantsed by Spider-Man.
Oh, it was so bad.
It was bad.
Oh, but
it is a bad movie.
But not as bad as Far From Home.
Yes, you stole it.
No. Okay,
Yeah.
so we're gonna stop talking Spider-Man.
Yeah, so we did that last week. If you haven't, check out our spoiler-filled review of Spider-Man Far From Home with Alex Pastrana from Wednesday Comics, so definitely check that out. And speaking of Spider-Man Far From Home, segues, we like to do those. We're going to look at the box office, because number one this week is Spider-Man Far From Home, $45 million, second weekend out.
Shocker.
Bringing its total gross domestically, $274 million.
Did you, by chance, happen to look to see what it was at globally?
I have not yet.
847.
Yeah, it's going to break that billion.
$1 billion.
It'll break the billion next week. And yeah, it's... Sony finally has something under their belt for a franchise.
Well, yeah, thanks to Feige.
Yes. They're just like bowing at the altar of Kevin Feige right now.
In Feige we trust.
Yeah, no surprise there. Took a 51.1% change, but that's to be expected second week out. Let's look at number two, Toy Story 4, $20.6 million. Total gross domestically, $346 million.
Nice.
Yeah, Toy Story, it's no surprise it'll stick. It's going to stick in this top five for a while.
Yeah, probably. Right now.
For sure, into August it will be
between Toy Story and Aladdin, there's really nothing to take your kids to go see.
Not until next week.
It's not like you're going to go take them to go see Annabelle.
Or Crawl.
There's a doll movie. Let's go see that.
Number three, Crawl, $12 million. Not too bad for a smaller budget film. I've heard pretty good reviews about it. I'm excited to see it.
The only thing that makes me nervous is when I was looking at what it brought in versus its budget is for, your typical horror, low budget, big money kind of thing, is for the sake of money-wise, it's kind of hurting.
No, well, it didn't make its money back first weekend, which, some of these won't, but I think 13.5, and I hear a lot of that goes to the CG work and actually making the alligators look good.
I get why the additional budget, because you don't want shitty looking monster animals in the the flick and whatnot, but at the same time too, maybe this week was not the week for Crawl to be released. I think it could have made a bigger impact if it would have been on
a bigger splash.
A bigger splash.
Get it? Because
goddamn
alligators.
Dad jokes.
Water.
But to go up against Toy Story and Spider-Man,
it won't fare any better in the next couple weeks though. It's a little Lion King movie coming out.
Yeah, I know. So it's I don't know.
It did beat the other movie that opened this week. Stuber opened at number 4, $8 million. Not too hot of an opening for the Kumail Dave Bautista movie.
Because Dave Bautista only makes good movies.
He does. He only makes good movies, including Escape Plan 3 with 50 Cent.
I still stand by the, I like Dave Bautista. I really do. I think for a wrestler turned actor, he's definitely holding his own. I like him in the Marvel movies. I liked him in Blade Runner, everything like that. But to go off about not wanting to be in the Fast and Furious movies because I want to make good movies. Hey, bitch, the Fate of the Furious made over $1 billion. If
and then Avengers Endgame made $2 billion.
Yeah, but he's only a fraction.
He is the reason why everybody went. No, I'm kidding.
But if he's making movies like Stuber because he's making the movies that he wants to make, then more power to him.
Yeah,
but
I think that's the way he needed to phrase that. I make movies I want to make. I don't need to be jumping onto someone else's franchise like Vin Diesel's or The Rock's with Fast and the Furious.
Yeah,
He's going to do his own thing, hang out with Sylvester Stallone.
If that's what he was intending, obviously that's not how it came across. Because no, he's been in a Bond movie. He's been freaking, like I said. I mean, Harrison Ford with Blade Runner in the Marvel movies. It's not like he's in trash most of the time. But he's like, hey, I want to work with Kumail. This looks like fun. Cool. Well, then more power to you.
Yeah. He shouldn't have phrased it in the way he did.
Excuse me.
Rounding off top 5 yesterday, $6.7 million.
Yesterday.
Let's move on to the news for the week. We have to start off with a little bit of a sad start to our news stories. We remember the life of character actor Rip Torn.
I love the fact that he went by Rip Torn.
One of the greatest names just ever.
Right.
Rip Torn. He just passed away this past week. Brian, what are some of your favorite Rip Torn movies?
Well, as much as I like Rip Torn, and I know he's been in the business for a very, very long time, I only think of Men in Black and Dodgeball.
Yeah, pretty much. No, I enjoy... Go ahead.
I was going to say, well, part of it being that he's not of my generation, and when the Larry Sanders Show was on the air, I didn't have the station, and it wasn't the type of thing I was watching.
Yeah, I mostly know him for his roles later in life, and mostly comedies. He's great in Dodgeball.
Mm-hmm.
One of the best parts of that movie is Patches O'Houlihan, and kind of a guilty pleasure movie of mine, Freddy Got Fingered.
Oh my god.
He plays Tom Green's dad. He is like a perfect foil for Tom Green, though.
Is this the part where I'm going to have to throw up in my mouth again?
Probably. If you ever watch that movie, yes. And I mean,
I have no reason to watch that movie again.
We will talk about that movie here in the next couple weeks, Brian. Just a little tease for what we're going to be talking about on some of our shows coming up, but I think it's a lot of fun. And obviously, he's a great character actor. I guess for people of our age and younger, he's mostly going to be known for these later in life roles.
Definitely. Definitely, especially, again, Dodgeball. Dodgeball is one of those ones where it's got such a handful of wonderful cameos that don't overshadow everybody else.
Unfortunately, he passed away this past week at the age of 88. But that's a lot of time in Hollywood to make a lot of movies. So that's
definitely.
That seems like something to go. I want to go back and watch like some of his earlier roles.
You know what I also want you to do?
What's that?
Fact check your notes before you start sharing shit on Facebook and post about people who died 3 years ago.
Yeah, someone trolled me on Facebook and I posted someone else that passed away, and they passed away a few years ago.
I couldn't help it.
Stupid Facebook.
Well, I like your response. It was CNN, so I trusted it. Yeah, so?
It was CNN from 2014. Oh, I got trolled. I'll admit it. All right, so let's move on to the news stories from the week. I want to just bring this one up. That director of the upcoming Joaquin Phoenix Joker movie, Todd Phillips, has pitched an idea for a new series for DC, taking kind of these Elseworld stories called DC Black.
DC Black?
Yes, so basically it would be...
As opposed to DC White?
Instead of white, yes.
This sounds like it should be like somebody's stage name.
DC White and DC Black.
Like D.L. Hughley?
Yeah. So basically his thing would be that these would just be like director-driven movies that don't have to take place within a universe or set up sequels or anything like that, or have to be beholden to the comic books that they are based on. So what do you think of this idea if it actually would come to fruition?
Well, it's not like Todd Phillips is making awful products and movies and stuff like that. No, sort of.
Hangover sequels.
The two that didn't need to be made.
Yeah. I relatively enjoyed them, though.
But, I like the idea. I mean, but, the thing is, though, is you're talking about the DC Black, we're going to take it into a different realm and whatnot. Yeah, they already have a thing for that. It's called Elseworlds. You don't need a different name for something that you're already doing. They just need to bring the Elseworlds environment from the comic books and make a staple of Elseworld movies.
And I think that's kind of what he was going for. It doesn't seem like he's actually like a comic book guy, though. So I think that's just kind of his name for it was DC Black. Just a different version, maybe darker takes on characters that we know. And yeah, I don't know. I'm waiting to see what this Joker movie ends up being like because I'm excited for it. I think the trailers make it look really good. I think Joaquin is great casting, but I am waiting to see this movie. You know, DC is very much hit and miss. Mm-hmm. Even if this is a director-based movie and gives the creative control to them, it's still DC though.
You're not wrong.
Yeah, until they prove me wrong.
I think the fact that they've gone the way that they have in being unconventional, like they've done with Shazam and for Aquaman, and that we're getting your unconventional director doing an unconventional movie, you know, in the wheelhouse of what they're doing, and they're going a little bit differently, gives me excitement to see that this is going to play out. Plus, to have Joaquin Phoenix, who is... He is a genius in the right of the way the stuff that he does and how he does it, and he's only gonna make the movies that he feels that he wants to make. Kind of like you said about Batista, is if he's not a paycheck kind of guy. He's not just gonna get into the DC world just because they're gonna offer him a buttload of money. He's gonna do it if he feels that the project is correct for him.
Yeah, he absolutely is one of those guys. He's gonna pick and choose what he wants to be in. So that's why I'm excited for the Joker movie. And we'll wait to see what happens with this DC Black that they are possibly working on. So in other news, Samuel L. Jackson joins Chris Rock's Saw film.
As Billy the Puppet.
No, he's not. As rumored to be Chris Rock's dad. I guess Chris Rock is going to be in this movie too?
Well, they talked about that already.
Yeah.
I mean, he's on as producing, but I'm pretty sure he's supposed to be in it as well.
This movie, I don't know what to make of it, and I love it. Like, I don't know what to expect now. Like, as soon as it said
50 Shades of Saw.
Yeah, like I don't know what to expect from this movie now. Like, first of all, when I heard Chris Rock was set to produce, I'm like, okay, maybe he wants to try this Jordan Peele thing, or like we said with the DC movies, just try something different.
Well,
and maybe it was his production company behind it. I didn't expect him to be in it.
You're gonna find that you're and I've said this before, your funny people are also going to be potentially your dark people, and this is his in to be able to, like you said, doing the Jordan Peele thing. Maybe this is Sam Jackson's way to get. I mean, you figure this is one of the few like genres that you really don't see him in.
No, of every other weekend we get a Samuel L. Jackson movie. It's never a horror film.
Exactly. So maybe this is his like, you know what? Hey, if Chris Rock is going to kind of go outside of the box here, maybe it's my turn too. And like you said, Sam Jackson is in everything every week, and he's like the highest grossing actor on the planet in terms of the movies that he's been in, how much money they've made. But I don't know. I'm like you. I'm intrigued.
Yeah, I have no idea what to expect.
Chris Rock takes Saw and turns it into his Medea franchise.
I don't know what to think of that.
I watched the gears just turning. You're like, no, don't do this to me.
Yeah, I'm like, no.
No.
I mean, if the rumors are true where he's playing Chris Rock's dad, Samuel L. Jackson, I think that's pretty interesting. It's a new dynamic we haven't seen.
Right.
I don't know what to... Like I said, I just honestly don't know what to expect. I'm excited for it. I think this is a very fresh take and new way to take this franchise because, the last film, Jigsaw, is just garbage. I think it is the worst in the franchise. And now seeing them either continuing somewhat to the franchise, spinning it off, rebooting it, whatever they want to do, I think with a new creative team like this, I think we could be in for something interesting.
So I was just kind of curious because of him playing his dad, so I wanted to look up really quick what is the age difference between those two. If Sam Jackson was an irresponsible teenager, he could be his dad. Because there's a 16-year difference between the two. But here's the part that kind of throws me off here, and I don't see it. And this just goes to show the kind of person that Sam Jackson is. The dude is 70.
That's why I think like they both can play. Sam Jackson can play a little older. Chris Rock can play maybe a little younger.
Well, yeah, Chris Rock, I looked up, he's 54 to Sam Jackson 70. So, again, if he was an irresponsible teenager,
It's not out of the realm of
it's
possibility.
not out of the realm, exactly. Tom Holland's like 25 playing like a 17-year-old. So it's definitely there, but at the same time, too, I'm like, I don't like to see Sam Jackson that old because,
Brian, you're just going to have to face the facts. He is old.
I don't want to. Sam Jackson can't die.
He can't.
No.
And if he does, it's going to just say motherfucker on his tombstone. So let us know.
Ass motherfucker.
Yeah.
Get your quotes right.
Let us know what if you're excited for this Saw film. What do you think of this casting? Just let us know in the comments what you think of it. Last piece of news that we have here, and this is sad news for me, Brian. I might cry.
Well, I know. You're just a nerd like that.
A little bit. Hasbro is going to completely reboot the Power Rangers franchise and will not make a sequel to the 2017 live-action Power Rangers film.
Here's the one thing that I question about this. Is Hasbro doing it because that's what they want to do? Because I'm with you. I actually enjoyed the 2017 Power Rangers. I can't think of the dude's name. I think he's either he's Australian or New Zealand. I don't remember. But the Red Ranger.
I can't pronounce his name. Dacre Montgomery or something like that.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Where he ended up
the Stranger Things guy.
Right, exactly. Where I knew him from Stranger Things and then went back and went, son of a bitch.
Oh, see, I knew him the opposite way. I watched Power Rangers and then Stranger Things.
Mm-hmm. But I mean,
he's a bona fide star right now. Mm-hmm. Naomi Scott is also
here's my
entering A-list territory.
Here's my question, though, is are we running into an issue of potential copyright and ownership of the original and what they can do to progress the 2017 version, I mean, when Hasbro bought the rights of Power Rangers as a whole from Saban?
Yeah, that's what I'm wondering. Maybe it's just...
I think I'm hoping that it's the only reason for this, because there was some success to the 17 version, was just simply logistics. Is simply paper.
Yeah,
I'm hoping.
First, I wish there was a sequel to it, because, I mean, they do set up for a sequel in it.
Yeah, I know.
They set up for the Green Ranger. I want my Tommy Oliver. But if they are going to go full reboot of it, it makes sense, because frickin' Power Rangers on the television series, nowadays every season is technically a reboot. It's a new team every time, different Zords, different Rangers, everything.
Yes, you are correct.
Yeah, so I mean it's not out of the franchise to keep just rebooting.
Hasbro needs to be able to sell more Zords that don't look like the other Zords.
Yeah. I
mean, these are the guys that basically sold as Transformers for the last 30 years.
Maybe we get Transformers versus Power Rangers.
Stop it.
Yes. Make it happen, Hasbro. Make it happen. As long as it's not Battleship. I think if they do
I did not mind Battleship.
You're wrong. You're wrong.
It was fun watching Alexander Skarsgård get blown up, though.
It's also funny watching Rihanna try to act.
You're not wrong.
No, that's not a good movie, but I'm excited if they do want to continue the 2017 franchise, if they want to do this reboot. Shit, I'm going to be there no matter what. It's Power Rangers.
So how many of the originals, did you see all the ones in the theater? Like the original Power Rangers and Turbo and all that back in the day?
I probably wasn't even born when some of those came out, Brian.
Oh shit, I keep forgetting.
No, I was, but I wasn't going to movies at that point. But no, I watched the original series all the time, and some of the later...
Hello? I don't know what that was.
Ghost
in the shell.
All right, I don't know. Where were we, Brian?
I don't know. I don't know what the hell that is either.
Yeah, I'm not going to cut this out because it might continue throughout the episode. In the room next door, my fiance and her sister are watching X-Files, so maybe that's why they're screaming. I don't know. But that's the last piece of news that we got for this week. Let's move on to our main topic for the week then, Brian. And that topic is Jon Favreau.
The Favreau.
Now,
such a good dude.
He does. He seems like a genuinely cool guy and someone like I would just want to sit down and talk movies with.
Heck yeah.
Like, spoiler, Jon Favreau will be here. No, he won't. Never, unfortunately. But we are going to talk about his entire career. We're going to, I don't know, you want to just jump around, just pull up his filmography? What do you want to do, Brian? We don't really have a set way of what we're doing. We're not going to rank anything.
Nope. We are going to leave that to some other people.
Yes, we will talk about that. Yeah. I don't know. Do you want to start at the top and work our way down? Start with his newest and go to his earliest, or?
Well, I was gonna say is at least let's talk about his directing, because he's very particular on what he makes and whatnot. He's
or if Disney throws him some money.
I don't know what you're talking about. I don't know what you're talking about at all.
Lion King.
But I mean, so I mean, yeah, we got Lion King, The Jungle Book. So I mean, it pays right now to be part of the Mouse House.
It does. He's still there. He's hanging out. He's doing The Mandalorian. He was part of the MCU. He likes that Disney paycheck. He has his hands in all three.
Yeah, he's like Donald Glover, where he's got his hand on every aspect that is the Disney universe. The Disney, the Marvel, the Star Wars.
All of it.
But he is also the type of individual that makes the kind of movies and the type of person who can be in those different places and make it work. Same with again, like Donald Glover. He is the type of person that it's not unorthodox.
No, that's as much as I give Disney shit on our show. Which I do.
You do, but you're also you would bow down to a Mickey Mouse if he showed up at your front doorstep right now.
No, I'd be fucking terrified. That little shit. He's gonna take all our money and own the world one day.
But Mickey Mouse comes up to your door and bitch slaps you. Give me your money.
Give me your money. Ho! But yeah, I just want to start. Let's start off with the top because I want to start with these Disney movies.
Okay.
I mean, we haven't seen Lion King yet. It is getting mixed reviews right now.
It's still trending better than some of the other stuff in terms of the reviews and whatnot.
I mean, sort of. I mean, I think it's very mixed. It's like everybody's like, the visuals are fantastic, which was to be expected.
Yeah.
Everything else is not that great. Or it's treading the same water as the original, which I wish with someone like Jon Favreau, you could have done something different.
Yeah.
You could have made the movie different, give it different dialogue, different songs, make it different, but
we did
free money.
We got Seth Rogen and Billy Eichner as Timon and Pumbaa.
Yeah, I watched a scene with them. I don't know what to think yet. Not necessarily with their voice acting, but them as quote unquote live action versions of these characters.
To see an actual boar and a meerkat.
Yeah, there's no livelihood to it. There's no obviously animation to these characters. Mm-hmm. That's the thing I've heard is missing the most out of Lion King, and from watching some of the clips they've released, yeah, you can tell that.
Well, at the same time too, I think Disney would get shit one way or the other if you
change too much. And
well, yeah, because think of how much people kind of gave shit to Andy Serkis's Mowgli that was on Netflix because he did the mocap thing and he made more of a human face out of these characters, and people were giving him shit.
I enjoyed that.
Well, yeah, but you did, but that's not to say that you like to be in the minority, Mr. I hate Far From Home.
I know. I usually am, but since you brought up Jungle Book, I enjoyed Jon Favreau's Jungle Book.
Enough that there's going to be another Jungle Book.
Which I am honestly more excited for than anything else they are ready to put out. Because it's going to be a new story.
Maybe they're going to do the Jungle... Isn't there an animated Jungle Book?
There is an animated Jungle Book too. Don't do it. Just make your own story.
John, just don't go rent the DVD and just...
Rent the VHS.
Rent the VHS.
Yeah, I enjoyed his Jungle Book. I thought, because... I mean, looking at that original Jungle Book movie, it's not... I mean, every Disney animated movie is a Disney classic.
Mm-hmm.
The original Jungle Book's not that great. It's not The Lion King. It's not Aladdin. It's not The Little Mermaid. It was a decent animated film for the time in which it was released, and the new directions and way they took the story in the Jungle Book, I think it was an improvement.
Good.
Yes. That's why I'm like, why are you remaking Lion King? Lion King's perfect.
Because
How do you like the whole point of doing a remake, a reboot, or whatever is to improve something from the original? That's the way I look at it. How do you improve perfection?
no. That's how you look at it. Other people look at it as
Money.
ching. Have you seen the meme going around with Mickey Mouse?
Which one?
It's just a picture. It's just a picture of Mickey Mouse, but his ears are recycling logos.
Yo. Because he's going green, Brian.
Yeah, that's it.
Yes, money green.
He's
Ching,
going.
ching,
I was gonna
ching.
say he's going money green.
Yeah, I enjoyed his Jungle Book though. I am excited to see what he does next with that franchise. I mean, heck, The Lion King is gonna make a shit ton of money. If they want to do a Lion King 2 with Jon Favreau, I'd be more excited to see that than the original, this live action version.
Until you find out they made a remake of The Lion King 2.
Okay, I would kind of like that. Yeah, Simba's Pride is good. Simba's Pride is good.
In 6 months from now, we get Lion King 1.5.
Oh, okay. If they just remade that with Billy Eichner and Seth Rogen doing a Mystery Science Theater 3000 version of this live-action Lion King, I would be the first person in line. Because that is exactly what Lion King 1.5 is. I would pay good money for that, honestly, yeah. His latest film before that, Chef 2014. I have not watched this one.
I have not had an opportunity either. However, this is the first thing that he's directed, written, and produced since he made Made. To me, this seems like a passion project, if you will. You know, kind of, you know,
Return to form.
exactly. You know, it has a huge, Sofia Vergara, John Leguizamo, Scarlett Johansson, Dustin Hoffman, Bobby Cannavale, Oliver Platt. I mean, Robert Downey Jr. is in it. You know,
He gets people he wants to work with in it.
yeah, definitely, and to the point where he's encompassed this movie so much. He now has a Netflix series that he did of the same name, where he's going around all these different places in regards to food. I know that one of the trailers I saw has Tom Holland and Robert Downey Jr. One, you know, he's bringing his friends and whatnot, and I think Bill Burr is in one of the episodes. I think, but you know, it's just that, you know, he's like, hey, I want to make a movie about cooking and, you know, food trucks, and well, shit, I'm just gonna make a movie about film, you know.
Yeah, something he's passionate about.
Exactly.
I mean, even if you look at some of his earlier films, there's hints of, from what I have seen, like in the trailers of Chef, there's hints of that in those movies.
Oh, definitely.
I feel bad because I was trying to catch up on as many Jon Favreau movies before we did this episode, obviously.
Agreed myself as well.
And this is the one where I'm like, I just didn't have time to get to it, and it's not streaming anywhere right now. But
It's not on Netflix anymore?
It's not, no. And
Oh, that makes me sad because that's where I was going to go look for it.
Yep. It's one of those movies I've been wanting to watch for a long time, and I just need to sit down and watch it because I really enjoy movies about food. Because, like, I love TV shows about food. Food Network is like the one channel. If I had cable, I'd be like, I need the Food Network. But just knowing that, you know, this is a movie about food and food trucks, and then the personalities behind it, and Jon Favreau's returning to writing, directing, I think that is a recipe for something great.
87, 85 on Rotten Tomatoes.
Yeah.
So, oh, definitely.
Yeah, and as we said, it was a return to form because before that, he was kind of sticking in that blockbuster territory, making the bigger budget science fiction movies, and one of those movies was Cowboys and Aliens.
What, you didn't like that one?
I watched it bits and pieces on TV. It wasn't great.
It's not great, but I appreciate that we got something different in different form. Like, you know, I enjoyed the movie. I have said movie. It's one of those ones where for a lot of people it's probably a take it or leave it kind of thing. But you know, it's like, hey, I want to make an Asian invasion. Oh my effing god!
Alien invasion movie.
Thank you. Fuck.
Let's storm Area 51, everyone. Let's do it.
Oh my god, the memes for that.
Dressed up like
My god.
like Daniel Craig and Harrison Ford. Let's do it.
300 people sign a petition, only 40 show up and disappear. No, but it's you know, Cowboys and Aliens. The one thing that's like, you know, hey, I want to make an alien movie. but I don't want it to be a modern day movie. I want to do something different. You know, these are two different genres: old school Western and alien invasion that just don't happen together typically.
I am just looking up the IMDb page here.
Yeah,
and one of the biggest things that you know when it's probably a bad movie, there's 7 writers on it.
Maybe they'll want to work together.
I mean, there is some good ones in here. Alex Kurtzman is on here. Steve Odenkirk.
Roberto Orsi is from between Star Trek and Scorpion, and he's done quite a bit as well.
There's a lot of people in this, and then having Jon Favreau direct, it's a good cast, but you know, for me, movies if there's 7 writers, it's like, do you need 7 writers on a movie?
No, that just tells me that the studio is getting too involved.
Yeah, I mean, this was supposed to be a new franchise, new take on a new life for Harrison Ford
and Daniel Craig.
I mean, what did you think of those two in the movie? They're tough nuts to crack in Hollywood right now.
They've always been, though. I mean, they definitely have a certain persona about them, and maybe that's half of the problem.
They're very similar, both of them, actually. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
One's Eastern, one's Western.
Curmudgeon-y older men.
Right. But no, I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it for what it is. It's a popcorn movie. It's there just to have fun, to pit your cowboys again, cowboys versus aliens instead of a typical modern day Western and a modern day alien movie. You know, just kind of throw shit together and see how it sticks. Unfortunately, this one didn't stick as well as they had hoped.
Yeah, let's talk about some movies that did stick.
Oh, you mean like Iron Man and Iron Man 2?
At least one of them. One of them did build an entire multi-billion-dollar franchise.
Exactly. And who would have thought, considering where he came from and where he started, that Favreau would be the one that basically kick-started a multi-billion-dollar franchise and created basically an entire studio out of it.
That's something I've never looked up, and it just made me really curious to think about. That was their Marvel Studios' first film. What made them want to pick Jon Favreau? Well,
it wasn't necessarily Marvel Studios yet, because it was like Marvel Films kind of thing, whatnot. But Marvel Studios didn't because
like Marvel Cinematic, you know what I mean.
But no, what I'm saying is Iron Man, Iron Man 2, Thor, and Captain America were all distributed by Paramount. It wasn't until basically they got into Avengers territory when Disney bought them that the studio became.
Yeah. So that's what I'm wondering. Why was it Jon Favreau, the guy?
Because they realized that they needed to think outside of the box, and Singer was not the way to go.
I mean, that is true. That is true.
Because
looking at it now.
I mean, if you really think about at the time when the first Iron Man came out, by then we're already on the end of what was the Singer Ratner X-Men trilogy. There really wasn't a whole lot of cohesion to the Blade trilogy, and it's just that, it's like, we need to go. I mean, yeah, you look at the stuff that he made before this, you go, again, yes, you're absolutely right. Why him? But, at the same time, too, maybe it was Favreau was the first one where it's like, you know what? We need to think outside of the box, because at the time, Robert Downey Jr. was damn near almost unmarketable, and this was his basically reboot of sorts as well.
Yeah, I think it was just all the pieces fell right into place for this.
Right.
Jon Favreau, his films before that are very character based, and so is this Iron Man film.
Yes.
This Iron Man film, it almost feels like an indie movie with a pretty big budget behind it, and then building $1 billion franchise after.
And then we also get Jeff
Bridges and Gwyneth Paltrow.
And if I remember correctly, I remember seeing a thing where, because for a little while when Gwyneth was having kids and stuff like that, she took a hiatus and she kind of retired from Hollywood for a little while. And it was Robert Downey Jr. going, she came back to Hollywood, and who does she go to? We get her. I mean, for considering the character that is Pepper Potts and the time this movie was made, that was a huge, that was a win for them.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at it back in 2008, Robert Downey Jr. is probably the third, maybe fourth, well-branded person in that movie.
Oh, definitely.
You look at Terrence Howard was the highest paid on it, then Gwyneth Paltrow, Jeff Bridges, and then Robert Downey Jr.
Well, it's because they wanted to make sure that, he showed up to set.
Yeah.
Because this is also during the time when he was, again, almost unmarketable to the point where he didn't even get paid up front. He only got like 40 or 30% of paycheck up front, and he didn't get the rest until he was completed filming because of his drug addiction and stuff that he'd been through in the past and whatnot. Obviously, he has since, corrected the ways after he met his wife because, Gothica is where everything changed. But, you kind of, Robert Downey Jr. is his own brand, and he had to, So, I mean, the fact that you have somebody like Favreau who is still kind of fresh in the water. I mean, he'd been around for a few years, but at the same time, to go to the studio and say, "Hey, I'm gonna direct this. I'm gonna produce this. This is who I want as your Iron Man." And they go, "Okay."
Yeah, this first Iron Man, it's still, I think it is one of the best MCU films. One, because it's just a great film first, and then builds upon great characters and building an entire universe around that one movie. I think what works perfectly is the casting, the directing, the use of a lot of improv, because these feel like real people in this movie. Mm-hmm. Because technically, I guess from what I've read about the movie, there is no script. There's an outline of what they needed to do in each scene, and it was a lot of Robert Downey Jr. ad-libbing stuff, and Jon Favreau giving him direction, and everyone else trying to keep up with Tony Stark.
So then, where do you think the hammer falls for Iron Man 2?
It fell pretty far. That's for sure. I think part of it is including someone who carries a hammer. It's they're trying to build this entire Avengers team after this,
right?
And that's what this entire movie is. It's for me, this Iron Man 2 is basically Avengers 0.5.
Well,
it is all set up for the Avengers.
Well, it's partly that, but I do have to agree where I think the whole Whiplash thing was just not done proper.
By anyone involved.
As much as you want to give it shit, I do wish I wish Sam Rockwell would come back as Hammer.
I don't get that shit. He's the best part of this movie.
Yeah.
He's better than anyone in this movie. He is perfect. Like, he should have just been the villain. Don't do the Whiplash, Mickey Rourke. I wanted my bird. That is his entire dialogue for the movie. He wants a stupid bird. Fuck off.
I need to do my accent.
But yeah, this movie is it is a commercial for the Avengers. There are glimpses of greatness in it. Justin Hammer is one. And then I think the next is doing the demon in a bottle, like Tony Stark is an alcoholic. Mm-hmm. They glance over that after a scene.
Well,
he gets drunk at a party, puts on his Iron Man suit, gets his ass kicked by War Machine, and that's it for his alcohol abuse.
Well, you have to think though. I mean, this is also the point where, Marvel's starting to pick up steam, and they're starting to kind of get their groove of what their brand is. And probably gloss over something like that because,
Which is a shame, one of the best Tony Stark comic book storylines is his alcohol abuse.
Right, but at the same time, too, we need to make him into the hero and all this stuff and what they're building upon. Like, I mean, they poke fun at drinking and stuff like that with the whole, Stan Lee with the Asgardian liquor and whatnot. Later on and whatnot. But, I mean, for the most part, there's nothing really anything like that in the MCU anymore. And I think it's just because they're trying to gauge to a certain audience.
Yeah.
And
they found that audience. I'll give them that. They know what they're shooting for.
Yeah, so, I mean, I get why. You're going to make your hero be the hero. He's got enough of a dark past the way it is. Don't add fuel to the fire.
See, if this was something that wasn't building towards something bigger and better and greater, like the Avengers, I think if they would have gone to a smaller contained story like a alcoholic Tony Stark with this same team behind it, I think we could have got something really great. But unfortunately we didn't. But it's what it is.
It is.
It is one of the worst movies in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. I mean, just looking at it from just a film standpoint, it is a really bad movie. And I think looking at his filmography, it's, one of the 2 or 3 on here that I think are just really bad movies. The other one on here we'll get to, but I want to talk quickly about Zathura.
Yes.
Because I don't know what to think of this movie yet.
It's a kids movie. It's his kids movie, and again, you're kind of looking at, he was still kind of in that bottle, if you will, because this is just off of him doing Elf. But I mean, it is exactly what it's supposed to be. It's not geared. I mean, even for as long as it's been since that movie came out, it was not geared. It definitely wasn't geared for me. If it was going to be geared for anybody, it would have been for you.
Yeah, I mean, I was 05. I was 11 years old when this came out.
Oh yeah, it definitely would have been for you.
Yeah, I remember watching this as a kid. I enjoyed it on very much the same level I enjoyed like Jumanji at that time. It's basically almost the exact same premise. I recently was trying to watch this kind of in the background. I was doing stuff earlier in the week, and I completely forgot that Kristen Stewart is in this movie.
I'm looking that up right now, actually.
Yeah,
because the 2 people that I always remember in this movie is Josh Hutcherson and Dax Shepard. Hello.
Yeah, and then you have
crazy, weird people on the other side of the wall.
Yeah. And you have Tim Robbins in this movie as the dad.
Well, why not?
Why not?
Because...
And then Kristen Stewart. He has a pretty good cast. From the bits and pieces I remember, it's a fun kid science fiction movie. It's not really anything more than that.
Well, yeah, exactly.
And I think that's all right. He wanted, it's for me. For what makes him great is he likes to do stuff he wants to do. From what I've seen. And this seems like just something he's like, I just want to make a kids movie. Something I would have watched as a kid.
I'm looking at Rotten Tomatoes right now, and from the sake of the critics gave it 75%. Give it it's certified fresh. Audience, on the other hand, says not so much, and says it's 51, and it's kind of blah, So, it's gonna all depend on who's watching the movie. I think.
Yeah, I think if you're relatively in that younger age, 8 to 14, you'll probably enjoy this movie.
Yeah, it's just a good, fun kids sci-fi movie.
Yeah, and that one is on Netflix right now, so that's where I was kind of watching it in the background.
You're just kind of watching it.
Yeah. Do you want to jump to something better, or do you want to jump to something worse, Brian?
Let's just get it over.
Do you want to get him out of?
Can we just rip the Band-Aid off?
Should we just take it off right now?
Just rip off the Band-Aid.
We'll rip off that Elf Band-Aid, because 03, his second directorial film, Elf. And for some reason...
John, why?
Some reason this movie has developed a very big cult following.
A lot of movies have done that, though. I mean, look at Donnie Darko.
Yeah, but...
I just don't understand why it has an 83, 78 on Rotten Tomatoes.
No, I don't understand either. When I remember when this movie came out, I watched it relatively I was this relatively same age as when I watched Zathura. I hated this movie as a kid. I didn't get it. So
have you ever watched it as an adult to see if you were wrong and you?
Yes, I have. Yeah.
And it's still just as bad.
It's just as bad. What I don't understand is even as a kid, I enjoyed Will Ferrell movies like Talladega Nights.
Barf.
What? We'll do a Will Ferrell.
That's a whole different topic.
That's a whole different topic. But I as a kid, I enjoyed some of Will Ferrell's movies, and looking at Elf this, I don't get the fever behind it.
And for me, I mean, even just from the trailers, I have never watched this movie. I have no interest to watch this movie, and it's just, I don't see. I mean, even from the little bits that I have, whether I've crossed a pond and I'm flipping channels on TV and keep on going. Or the trailer, I look at this movie and I'm sitting here going, why would James Caan agree to make this movie?
Yeah, there's not a whole lot of positive I can honestly say about it, so I don't want to stick on it too long. But for me, this movie is all the jokes really fall flat. People like to endlessly quote it, and I don't understand because the lines aren't funny to me. I don't. Like I said, maybe it just isn't for me. It is definitely a sort of crowd-pleasing general audience movie. It's not going to be something that is going to hit us like cinephiles or movie nerds, you know? It's not going to be something like that, but...
It's got Peter Dinklage in it.
It does. He has a relatively funny scene.
I'm just
Can you guess what the joke is, though?
That he's the elf?
That Will Ferrell mistakes him for being an elf because he's short.
I'm just looking at some of these people in here. I'm like, why Ed Asner? Why Mary Steenburgen? Why Zoe Deschanel? Even Andy Richter, you know, it's like...
Ed Asner's really good in it. Zoe Deschanel plays the love interest, and she is pretty bad. Like, maybe she's really good on TV, but as far as film goes, she's not great.
I think it just depends on probably the film and whatnot. I mean
I enjoy something
it.
like The Happening. She ain't acting. She looks dead-eyed that entire movie.
And like, for instance, I loved her in Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. You know, it's not the movie that should have been made, but it's still a good fun movie.
Yeah, I think this was just a misstep overall for Jon Favreau.
Oh, definitely.
I mean, it's something I think, you know, he enjoys, and he got to do it with people he wanted to make a movie with.
In millennial fashion, people will fight us on this.
We're going to have so many people yelling at us because we hate Elf. Bring it on. Bring it on.
No.
Let's jump to his first directorial film then. Actually, no, before we get to this, there's one I want to bring up because it is the closest thing we will have for him not directing but being very much a part of. Couples Retreat. He's a writer on it. He's also in the film. Brian, you have watched Couples Retreat.
I have.
What did you think?
I enjoyed it.
I remember watching parts of this on TV. You know, it was always on the USA Network. I always remember it being on that, but...
And it's the kind of movie where I would highly recommend just watching it straight off of like digital or something like that. Don't watch it edited for television.
Yeah.
You know, it's not, by all means, doesn't make it any more raunchy or anything like that. It is a PG-13 movie, but it's still the same thing where it's like, really. I enjoyed it. I love the cast. Kristen Bell, Malene Ackerman, you know, Vince Vaughn. It's freaking directed by Peter Billingsley of Christmas Story.
Ralphie himself.
Ralphie
friend
himself.
of Jon Favreau.
Very good friend of Jon Favreau's. How would you like to have that? Who's one of your good friends? I'd like you to meet Ralphie.
That. I would want to just sit down with those two and just like listen to them talk to each other.
Well, you know, you get some of these people where you realize, oh, so and so knows so and so. Oh, and they've known somebody for as long
forever.
as.
Yeah.
Well, look at like say J.J. Abrams and Greg Grunberg. I mean, they've known each other since they were kids, and you're just like, I want to be in in that room to somebody who, you know, two people who've been in the industry for such a long time, and just to be the...
Yeah, but in that case, someone gave the other one a job, I think.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Oh, you mean, you know, because Greg gets to be in all the JJ stuff?
Yeah.
Yeah. But, you know, at the same time, too, I came across, you know, obviously sidetracking, whatever. I learned of Greg Grunberg from when he was on Heroes, unbeknownst to who JJ was he was at the time, because, you know, when Heroes was on, was Mission Impossible 3 even out yet? You know,
I have no idea.
So, I mean, you figure at that point, you know, I knew who Greg Grunberg was well before I knew who JJ was. You know, it's just one of those things that's like, oh, so-and-so, oh, you know, so-and-so. You know, yeah, it's almost like living in a small town.
That's what I like about Jon Favreau, though. He likes to do movies with his friends. Like, I look at, like, the relationship he has with Vince Vaughn, I think, is just, like, one of the best, like, duo chemistries out there.
Oh,
I wish they need to do more movies together.
Yes, they do.
Because I need to go rewatch Couples Retreat, because I finally have caught up on Swingers and Maid. Mm-hmm. And those two together are just dynamite.
Oh, Couples Retreat
perfect.
is... personally myself, I think, and Jason Bateman too. Just the ensemble cast for Couples Retreat.
Do they keep the I'm sure they play the banter up, those two. Those two banter like none other.
Oh, well, them and, well, I mean, again,
this is adding a new wrinkle with this entire big ensemble cast with them.
Oh, and that's where I was just about to go, is that you have this huge ensemble cast and whatnot, and to think that, yeah, those two can banter, but then you add Jason Bateman in there, Kristen Bell in there, and it's just, where the hell did it go? There we go. Because give me what I want.
Come on.
Yes, Faison Love, the big huge black dude that's in it, who also happens to be an elf. Because again, like you said, he likes to work with the same people over and over again. Just
he's good friends with him too. He's in a lot of his movies.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
oh my God, forgot about the Replacements.
That's like for how much he's doing like blockbuster movies again now with like Iron Man and into Jungle Book and Lion King. I want to see him return to these type of movies because I literally just today, as we are recording, I have watched Made, and I really enjoyed it. Like his writing is really strong. I think the dialogue he writes is very underrated in terms of like looking from that time period, because when you think of some of the best like indie writers of that time, it's Kevin Smith,
from
Quentin Tarantino,
from the late 90s, early 2000s.
Yeah, and no one ever brings up Jon Favreau.
Yeah,
I think that's very unfortunate because I think he's a really strong writer. He knows how to write characters. He knows how to write things he would want to see in a movie. I mean, Made it's his directorial debut right after Swingers, and it almost just, the knock I would give it is it feels like a sequel to Swingers without it being a sequel to Swingers, which I guess is a knock and a positive because, as I said, the chemistry between him and Vince Vaughn is perfect.
You make the comment. Did you ever look at the movie poster for Made?
Why?
Swingers meets The Sopranos.
Okay. Yeah. No, I really enjoyed this movie. I was surprised because I'm like, no one ever talks about this. I've never really heard of it until I started like digging into his filmography.
It's because you were like 11 when it came out. You were like 9.
I was like 7, Brian.
And you still had a beard.
And I did have a beard at 7 years old. You are correct. No, I think he knows how to write very funny characters, very funny dialogue, and that's something I would like to see him go back to.
Oh, definitely.
Because looking at this movie, him and Vince Vaughn, as I said, like I wish like these two should just be a duo in Hollywood all the time. Vince Vaughn is. I think Vince Vaughn is a really fun actor, but when he's with Jon Favreau, he's A+. He is top.
Well, and I was gonna say my only rebuttal to that is that we know that Jon Favreau can do funny, or not Jon. Oh my God, we know Vince Vaughn can do funny. I want to see Vince Vaughn not do funny at least once in a while. Like we've got Brawl on Cell Block 99 or whatever it was. To finally see something, but like I enjoyed him as the detective in The Cell, and it's like with knowing that Favreau has gotten a little bit out of the wheelhouse for the comedy and
for himself,
yes. Is I would like to see, if you bring him and Vince Vaughn together, I want to see a serious, maybe even like a dark movie.
I would be for that because I think Vince Vaughn can do that.
What if he made not necessarily a horror movie, but like say a thriller suspense movie and Vince Vaughn is your villain?
I think given the right material, Vince Vaughn could pull it off. Not Gus Van Sant Psycho type of Vince Vaughn.
No, but
we need something dark and just. I think he has that in him.
Well, and I said.
I mean, I haven't watched the Attack on what is it? Cell Block
99, I think is what it is.
Yeah, we're failing.
Yeah, we are a little bit. But at the same time, you look at this and, and I said this earlier when we were talking about Chris Rock, is that, some of the funniest people have the darkest minds. And these are two very legitimately, we know can be very funny dudes, and we know this. And think of what kind of thriller they can come up with.
Yeah, I think that would be a fun way for these two to go. Because, I mean, looking at Vince Vaughn, some of his latest, at least bigger films haven't been great as far as, like, especially comedies for a guy who's known for his comedies.
I know. That's because, for me, it's the whole, oh, he's doing another comedy. Oh, he's doing another comedy. I don't care.
Yeah.
Because, you can only do so many comedies before it feels like it's the same character just in a different movie.
Yeah, I agree. He was really good in Hacksaw Ridge. He was playing a little bit against type in that. But then you look at movies like the Delivery Man, The Internship, The Watch, Fred Claus. Like, he's just at that point he's doing the paycheck films.
Right.
But now I see he is going more into the what he like can actually grasp and take a bite out of, these meteor roles with Dragged Across the Concrete and Brawl and Cell Block 99. I think if he does something like that with Favreau, we have something that's money. I'm stealing that line from Swingers now.
But I'm looking though. But like, if you go back. Is like, say for instance, one of the ones that's caught my eye there is Term Life, where I don't think he got a theatrical release. I think it was just a straight to video kind of thing, where it's like, don't make a movie to make a movie kind of thing. Just make a movie to be, if this Term Life movie is one of those ones where, hey, there's this dude, he makes a movie, we just need to borrow you, you're gonna make scale, we only need to borrow you for 3 days, blah blah blah, here's an extra small paycheck on the side, fine, so be it, whatnot, but don't make a crappy movie because you just want to make movies.
I'm looking at this movie now. It's directed by Peter Billingsley.
Is it?
Yeah, has Jon Favreau in it, Taraji P. Henson, Terrence Howard, Bill Paxton, Vince Vaughn, Haley Steinfeld. Like,
and I didn't hear about that movie until it hit our shelves.
Weird. Yeah, I don't know. If you guys have seen Term Life, let us know if it's worth watching.
Look at the stars on IMDb. 5.5.
I know. Shut up. They're not always right, Brian.
You are correct.
All right. Do we want to just jump to his last one we want to talk about here?
Oh, it's Swingers?
Swingers.
Well, he didn't direct that one.
I know, he wrote it though.
He did write it.
And he is the star.
Because when you write your own shit and you can't make it, you star in it.
You star in it.
You make yourself the Silent Bob.
Roughly. I don't know. In preparation for this episode, I finally watched Swingers for the first time.
You went for the one where he didn't direct it, so you didn't get one watch because of, or is it just because Chef wasn't available?
Chef wasn't available.
Oh, okay.
Otherwise, I would have tried to get that in. But yeah, I jumped to Swingers, and then I did Made just for this episode, and man, I loved Swingers. For as much as I like to give Vince Vaughn crap, especially with, I feel he's very boring, monotone sometimes, especially in comedies, is a very dry sense of humor. Him playing with Favreau, playing off each other, is perfect.
Oh, definitely.
It's money.
Yeah, I'm a definitely kind of guy.
Definitely. Money.
I'm
stealing that. For how many times they say that phrase in this movie?
It's money.
It's money. Your money, baby. Your money.
Your money.
Jon Favreau was really good in this movie. I don't think people give him enough credit for this. Whenever you hear or think of Swingers, even just look at this poster. Who is on that poster?
Well, he was also like 12 when he made this movie.
Who?
Jon Favreau. God damn it.
Vince Vaughn?
Vince Vaughn, yes.
But he's on the poster. He's not even the main character in this movie. I honestly, even I said, their chemistry is great. For me, I love the character that Ron Livingston plays. Mm-hmm. I think, if they would have played more with that character, we would have gotten a little bit more of a dramatic piece than the comedy that we got. But overall, I really enjoyed this. This is something from the late to mid 90s that I'm going to go back to and rewatch.
You get to rewatch and rewatch and rewatch again?
Yeah, because there is something I just, even after watching once, it's something you could pick up something new every time you watch it. Mm-hmm. Like a Clerks or a Chasing Amy or Pulp Fiction or Reservoir Dogs, those type of films. Something you could pick up something different every time. And no, I thought the writing is very strong. I mean, like you said, if you're going to write your own movie, shit, you're going to cast yourself.
Yeah, you at least have one of the roles has to be at least yourself.
And this is a very much based on relatively true life story of these two guys, two struggling actors hitting the town.
Well,
hanging out with their actor friends.
When you boil it down, if you're trying to, when you try to write something, you go to what you know.
What you know.
And if what you know is that you're a struggling actor, director, writer kind of person, you that's what you write about. And who better to play that role than the person who's it's loosely based off of.
I would love to see, even within the next 5 years, these two come back to do a movie together, very much in the same vein, where they're playing versions of themselves, but now where their careers are.
Now they're successful.
Not a Swingers 2. I don't want Swingers 2. But like you said, you write for what you know. Mm-hmm. Let these two, now that Jon Favreau is, like you said, he has his hands in every piece of Disney that he can. Mm-hmm. Vince Vaughn is a certified movie star. Seeing where Jon Favreau could write two characters like that and have dialogue and banter and real life problems for them.
Real life first world problems.
First world problems. Yeah.
I don't have enough money to put the gas in my Lamborghini.
Like, I don't know. I think he could put a spin on it that would make it interesting.
Right.
And like I said, I think it's something very underrated that his acting in this movie doesn't get enough credit. He is very good in it.
Did Favreau or Vaughn?
Everybody talks about Vince Vaughn in this movie. Jon Favreau, he's really strong. Vince Vaughn he's a very good side character in this movie. When you look at I always bring up Jurassic Park because Ian Malcolm is a great side character. Mm-hmm. But when you do him as a main character in Jurassic Park 2, it just doesn't work. Here's the thing, like Vince Vaughn in this movie is a great side character, but when he's the main character in some of his, newest films, The Internship and whatever the hell else he is in with Owen Wilson. Get away from Owen Wilson. Go back to Jon Favreau, Vince Vaughn.
Only unless you're making Zoolander 3.
Wow.
Wow.
So, do we need to bring up anything else on Jon Favreau?
Whoa.
There is one more thing I want to bring up. It's not a film, but it's about movies.
Well, I mean, what we said, couples retreat.
Do we need to talk about all his producing credits in the Marvel Universe? Jeez. Even he doesn't know what he produced Endgame for.
All he knows is how much money he's making off of the producer credits.
Oh, exactly. Which he needs to take that money and make something with Vince Vaughn again. There's one more thing I want to talk about, and I'm wondering if you have ever watched this.
What's that?
Dinner for Five.
Dinner for Five? No.
His TV show where he sits down with 4 other guests and they just, eat and talk about their careers and films and
No, but that sounds
life.
like fun, though.
No, you need to check it out. I think I just watched them on YouTube. You can usually find them in, bad quality, but it's there. Basically, it's them, like I said, they're sitting down, eating, and talking. And I can pull up the cast of different people he has on here.
Holy shit.
Yeah, I think it's only 1 season of this.
I see Colin Farrell.
But yeah, he has people like Seth Green was on it, Mark Hamill, Rob Zombie. I think when he does Mark Hamill, JJ is also on.
Why not?
Interestingly enough. And they do bring up Star Wars in that, so if you haven't looked that up, check that out. But yeah, there's just so many people in this that you have to check it out. So you have never heard of this?
No, I haven't.
Really? Yeah. I think it's probably on YouTube, like I said. You could find it, I'm sure, on Amazon probably, but it is a very good behind-the-scenes look at these people.
I would like to point something out.
Yes.
Jon Favreau.
Okay.
He's in Batman Forever.
Is he in Batman Forever?
He's just listed as assistant. I'm just looking at some of the old stuff. Like, he's in Rudy, he's in PCU, he's in Batman Forever, he's in Deep Impact. If you've never seen Very Bad Things, I recommend watching Very Bad Things, because that movie is beautifully just absurd, dark, black comedy.
Oh my God, there he is.
Yes, he is.
We have found him in Batman Forever. He is just in the background.
Yeah, he's just an assistant.
Wow.
His football player character in The Replacements is also beautiful. So I mean, even before he was really starting to take it up on his own, he was in some, not so great movies and some good movies. I mean, he's in Rudy after all. I mean, it's Rudy.
Yeah, so looking at his character in Swingers, he talks about the different smaller roles he's been in. That's what he was doing. Mm-hmm. Very much, you look at the actor, quote unquote formula from them starting, just as an extra or showing up on set wherever, and now he's fucking making The Lion King, dude.
The Lion King?
He's Disney's golden director right now, honestly.
Well, he's one of them. They have a handful of them now.
To be that.
To be Favreau.
To be the Favreau. That's, it's... I applaud him because I think he is a very underrated filmmaker. He is. It's something like you need to just go back and you want to just rewatch all his stuff and just see where he came from, and that's something I'm going to do here once we're done with this. That I hope maybe if we brought up something you guys have never heard of or saw, like Brian will probably go watch Dinner for Five now. It seems something right up in your wheelhouse.
I like it. I like it a lot.
And I'm gonna try to find frickin' Chef. Chef.
That kind of disappoints me since they have the whole series thing they got going on right now. That they don't have the movie on Netflix as well. As like a supporting, feature.
That it is a Netflix show.
Yeah. The only thing because at one point it was on. Oh, it is on Netflix.
Dinner for Five is on Netflix. Yeah. So there you go. I might rewatch it because it's been a few years since I first watched it. You do see Justin Long. Yeah. So if you haven't watched Dinner for Five, it's good. Just kind of behind the scenes look at these guys in actual real life.
Probably better than binge watching Impractical Jokers like I was doing earlier today.
No, that's all right. There's nothing wrong with watching Impractical Jokers all the time.
Okay, good.
Anyone who disagrees with us on that needs to fight us. Fight us on Impractical Jokers and Elf. Do it.
At least we have some legitimate, to Elf.
So, do you have a definitive favorite Jon Favreau film? Including some of his writing credits. I mean, for me, Swingers is probably my favorite. Maid is really good too, though. But, I mean, I wish he would do something besides Disney movies right now. Because looking at these older films, I want him to do more original stuff.
Bad Cop, Bad Cop. I just look over
TV movie.
TV movie. I mean, in terms of, everything. I mean, it's just, there is, I mean, even like I said, with Cowboys and Aliens, I enjoyed it for exactly what it was, and there's just really, honestly, with the exception of Elf, which makes me want to vomit.
And Iron Man 2.
And I would even take Iron Man 2 before Elf.
Oh, I would too.
I would take Mickey Rourke as Whiplash any day before Will Ferrell as whatever fucking Elf's name he is.
Elf.
What the hell is his name?
Buddy.
Buddy the Elf,
Yeah,
yes.
Yeah.
God.
We're just shitting on Elf. Be positive, Brian. Be positive.
I'm positive. I don't want to see this movie.
Yeah, I said...
I'd rather go visit Billy the Puppet.
That's what they were building in Santa's workshop.
Billy the Puppet?
Yeah. Like I said, I would say probably Swingers or Maid. I like those type of films, and I would like to see him go back to that. So.
Have you ever seen Very Bad Things?
I have not.
Oh, then definitely put that one on your next to watch list.
I definitely will. Brian, do we have anything else we want to wrap up with Jon Favreau? You thinking that's it?
I think that's a pretty good. Everything else is just mainly supporting actors and something like that. So, granted, he's almost always a supporting actor, but he's Happy Hogan.
He is Happy Hogan. He's fun in Far From Home. I will give the movie that. He's fun.
I'm not gonna lie. I'm so happy that they loosened up his character between what it was from Homecoming to Far From Home. The whole dynamic with Aunt May was great. I would honestly,
we talked about that last week. Brian.
I know.
Plug it.
So I don't know. Maybe for the sake of acting, I actually like the fact that we've got a recurrent Happy Hogan, and he's got different dynamics depending on the movie.
Hey, and he still brings his friend Peter Billingsley along, and I think that's cool.
God, he looked weird in Far From Home.
You're not used to seeing Ralphie that old, or what?
I did not pick up on that from the first Iron Man.
Really? Even in the flashback that they showed?
No, because last time I saw a picture of him, he had hair.
Oh. I don't know. I recognized him pretty much right away.
It's the eyes. It's those goddamn blue eyes of his.
I don't know. We'll do a Peter Billingsley episode sometime.
It'll last just 15 minutes.
It's just us talking about his cameo in Iron Man and Far From Home, and then playing Ralphie.
Ralphie!
All right.
Shoot your eye out.
So let us know in the comments, what is your favorite Jon Favreau movie? That's what we want to know. So that's what we're asking.
Yes.
All right, Brian. Well, that's pretty much been the show.
Yeah.
We'll quit our rambling and get to our stuff we need to plug here on our end.
You're rambling because holy shit, that list looks a little long too.
That is a long list. We have a lot of stuff going on here.
Yeah, we do.
Let's first start off with, I'm going to mess up your name, Chris. I'm sorry. Chris Schlapkels? Close?
I think so.
Yeah. He's going to do a ranking of the Jon Favreau's directing films, so be on the lookout for that. What do you guys think is number one? Dun, dun, dun.
They're all number one, except for Elf.
Except for Elf. And Cowboys and Aliens. And Iron Man 2. You can also check out Andy Erickson's review of Stuber. So check out his thoughts on the Kumail Nanjiani, Dave Bautista action comedy Stuber. Also check out Jameson Feifel's review of The Dead Don't Die. We did an entire episode themed around zombies because of this movie. Now finally someone from our crew has seen it.
Oh, it's about time.
I have no idea what his thoughts are yet. I'm excited to read them.
I still want to see this movie.
I do too.
Sorry.
Also check out Blake Ginnethan's review of Destroyer. Yes, the 2018 film Destroyer. Check out that coming out on backlot605.com. While you're doing it, check out backlot605.com. You can find all these reviews and articles and podcasts and everything we do right there on our website. Also, you can check out a review from me, Casey, of Dead Detectives, the latest Shudder original film. A horror comedy in the vein of Ghostbusters, kind of meets Ghost Adventures. Mm-hmm. So yeah, if you're into that, definitely check out the review for it, and then check out the film on Shudder this week. You can also check out, speaking of horror, Brian.
Horror.
We have a new show.
A pseudo show.
Pseudo spin-off horror show.
It will still be part of the main content.
Yes, so you will always find this, wherever you find this podcast, you will find this show as well. We're going to be doing it bi-weekly, so every other Monday we will be dropping these on our podcast network and on YouTube. This show is called The Killer Countdown. Dun, dun, dun. And it is hosted by, myself and Blake Ginnethan, couple horror nerds, and we basically what we do is we do a top 7 collaborative list of a top 7 theme for the week.
There's one particular reason why I support this.
Why?
Because
it's less horror stuff we have to do on this show then?
That's correct.
That is also why I do it, because I did feel like we were starting to get, a lot of the stuff we're doing is a lot of horror stuff on the main show.
Because you're such a nerd.
I know. That's why I feel like I need a better outlet for that, and that's what this will be. Maybe a little less horror will be on the main show now, which I think will be all right. So yeah, you can check that out right now on our YouTube and podcast feed. This week's first episode, we're going to be ranking the top 7 Friday the 13th films. Blake hated the series.
What made it? What didn't make it? And hey, you're also missing the fact that I was kind of there just like to moderate.
Yes, Brian was moderating the first 2 episodes. We'll see if he joins us for more.
I think it was fun. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I think it's fun, and I think you're gonna need a third person there to be able to help moderate and whatnot, because somebody's got to keep you guys from stabbing each other with your fake Halloween.
With our fake Halloween
knife.
Yes. You can also check out Coming Soon every Thursday on backlot605.com. We preview the latest movies coming to theaters, streaming services, and anything locally. Also check out our good friend Andy at Fat Dude Digs Flicks.
Jeez, you can blow up my eardrum.
Yeah, I'm going to blow out his eardrum. Payback, Andy, payback. No, we love the Fat Dude, so definitely check out his show. Andy will be here in 2 weeks. He's going to be here in 2 weeks.
2 weeks.
2 weeks. We're going to be doing something Fast and the Furious related. We don't really know yet.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, so Andy will be here to talk some Vin Diesel and The Rock. Oh, yeah. Yeah, so definitely check out Andy at Fat Dude Digs Flicks on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and check out his fun podcast that he's doing right now. He gives us a little shout out. We got to do the same because us horror movie nerds need horror movie.
Oh, see what I'm saying?
It's just stuck in my brain. I'm sorry. Us movie nerds need to stick together. He's also a horror nerd too. He will be on the show sometime.
He's an everything movie nerd.
That is true.
That dude's probably we're into July. We're halfway through July. He's probably watched like 300 films.
That is true in 1 month.
Okay, maybe not quite
Oh,
1-1.
no, maybe not. Anyway, you can check us out on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, Google Play, TuneIn, and YouTube. Follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. While you're on Facebook, check out the Sioux Falls Film Community Group. You can check it. That's basically right there on our backlot page, and you can join the conversation there. Let's talk movies right on there. I don't know what else to say about it.
It's always fun.
It is fun. Join it. It's fun. Also, check out the South Dakota Film Actors. You can find that link also on the Sioux Falls Film Community Group page. So if you are an actor or filmmaker in the area, check that out and join that group and some of the stuff that they do.
Mm-hmm.
Am I missing anything, Brian? I think that's it.
No.
Do you have anything you want to plug?
The website.
The website. I did plug the website, Brian.
I know.
We'll give a quick shout out to our latest interview, though, with Brandon Lunsman. He is the director, writer, actor, editor, everything for the movie called Tales of an American Hood Rat.
And he was super good to have on the podcast. I can't wait to have him back again.
Yes, we will definitely. He will be on a main show at some point.
Oh, definitely. He's been very supportive of us, just as much as we've been supportive of him. And I definitely look forward to what the future holds for him, us, and well, especially him, but just all of us together and trying to see what we can put together. What the hell are you doing over there?
That was my foot. That hurt. Anyway, I don't know what we're doing. We're rambling. There is one more thing we need to bring up since we are talking about our interviews and friends and filmmakers. And
what's that?
We are going to be doing a fun little thing here in October, Brian.
What's in October?
Halloween.
Well, no.
But okay. Before that, there is the
and my birthday.
Oh, and your birthday too.
Yeah.
Wow. October has everything.
My birthday is pretty awesome.
That is a pretty cool thing. It'd be what, 27?
Fuck, I wish.
No, we are going to be at the premiere of Everfallen.
Yes, October 1st.
October 1st, we will be there, and we are going to be doing a live stream of the red carpet as well as the post-film Q&A.
That will be fun.
I'm excited that we get to do this.
Yes.
I think it'll be a lot of fun. It's a new challenge for us.
Something we've never done before, so we definitely should probably do some troubleshooting and some testing.
Yeah, we'll be running some Facebook Live tests. So if you do follow us on Facebook, we apologize if those first Facebook Lives are just
horrible.
The camera pointing the wrong way and you seeing our weird chubby faces or something like that. I don't know. It'll be a fun learning process, but if you haven't yet, please follow their Facebook page, Everfallen Film. They are an awesome group of people. We had them in studio to talk about the film, so if you haven't listened to that interview yet, check out our interview with the cast and crew of Everfallen, and we cannot wait to be at the premiere for the film. So, anything else, Brian? I think we got it.
I think we got it.
Yep, that's it.
It wrapped it up in a nice little bow.
Wrap it up in a nice little bow. All right, so I don't know what I usually sign it off with, but Brian, thank you for being here, and you'll be here next week.
I'm always here.
You are here.
If I'm not here, it's...
Oh, Brian, we failed. We have one more thing. We need to say what we're doing next week.
We're gonna be ranking some Tarantino films.
Yes, after plugging everything else, I forgot that.
It's literally right there in front of you on the screen.
I know, my mind's going blank.
I'm the one who's been up for like 18 hours.
That is true.
And it's not like it's even like small print.
It's sort of small print, Brian. Anyway, we will be ranking the Tarantino films, but we are going to kind of be playing a game with that.
Yep, we're doing this with the respect that we have Once Upon a Time in Hollywood coming out.
Yes, so I haven't told anyone else that is going to be playing this game what the game is, and I'm excited for it. So it's going to be myself, Brian, Blake Ginnathan, and Chris will be on. And
because we love Tarantino movies.
Yes, so I think it'll be a fun little game. You guys enjoy it. Thank you all for listening, and please join us next week as we do rank the Tarantino films in our fun little game that I don't have a name for yet. Anyway, Brian, until next week, this has been the Backlot 605 podcast. I'm Casey.
I'm Brian.
And we'll see you on the Backlot of South Dakota.